Not. So we've got a lot of questions here. I'm seeing one in Facebook right now. Can you remotely tunnel in from off-site to control a camera or four? That might be helpful in certain situations.
Yeah, as long as you have some kind of a VPN capability there, we've had a few users that are actually doing that, both to view the stream on VLC player and also to control the camera. So if so, whether that's a some kind of a VPN connection or if you have the port set up and open on your firewall, but
that would be fun to show. Let me see if I can find it. I have a camera on my network that is outside the building, outside network, everything. And I believe that I can control it from your... So this is actually outside of our office. And this is just a beautiful day in Pennsylvania, nice and warm. And I can
nice.
actually go ahead and control this. This is outside our network, so I'm not going to give the IP address out right away. But, let's see. I'll go ahead and start controlling it. 232. Okay, got it. And this was something that I thought was so cool.
Oh yeah.
Maybe what I'll do is on this shot, I'm gonna overlay the over-the-top camera. Here we go.
And this was really a use case that we didn't really think of when we were doing this, because this is where the request has come in to be able to see see what we're looking at in the app and things, because people are doing controlling remotely, but you can't see what you're controlling from the app, so you have to have some other way to visualize it. And so, are you the screen?
So and this is the kind of thing that's just, it's really incredible, because so many people are starting to use these baseball games, football stadiums. They're just outdoor trail cams, different things. That the ability, and our engineers were really surprised when they said, "Wait, you're controlling something on an outside IP address through this app?" Sometimes that's I don't know what you did, Justin, to make that work, but that's not an easy feat, and it opens up a lot of doors.
Yeah, if you can make that IP address available in some way, then it'll do it.
Wow. Well, that's awesome. All right, so I'm going to roll through the chat room here and see if we missed anything. There's a nice article in the in the local newspaper about the Styx broadcasting. Tess, actually, one of my co-hosts, broadcast a Styx show a couple of weeks ago, so she was...
Oh, cool.
How many multiple users can control a camera simultaneously? Have you done any testing on that?
I have. I haven't found a limit yet. You can definitely stomp each other because it's just accepting controls on that port. So it's using the Visca over IP protocol. So, and one of the things I didn't show is that you can interrupt things even with your own. So let me switch it over here, kind of a halfway here. So if we push a position to change and then you want to overwrite it manually, you can interrupt right in the middle. And that's kind of what happens when multiple people are controlling. Someone can be hitting one button, another person just takes it over, and so if you've got a preset that's zooming in and panning and tilting, if you move, the zoom will continue and the pan and tilt won't. It'll go with what you've taken over. And vice versa. You can just tap the controls too. So if I'm going back out to home and I just want to tap zoom, it'll stop the zoom. And same with the pan and tilt. I can tap those controls and it'll stop those, and the zoom will keep going. So that's kind of what happens too when multiple users you end up stomping each other's commands, but it doesn't stop you from connecting to it. So.
So that's kind of a good thing in a way. At least you can do it if needed, but you have to be careful. And the presets are limited to 9 currently.
10 if you count 0. So by default, 0 will just go to the home position, but you can override it on the app. So.
And I'm just answering a few questions here. The name of the app is PTZ Cam.
Pan Tilt Zoom.
Pan Tilt Zoom is the name.
Yeah,
Very original.
we took a long time coming up with that.
That's a great
What do
name.
we call an app that can pan, tilt, and zoom?
And the app is $10. Um, James Bond here from Knoxville Church of God says he's very interested in the app. Richard Martin must be a current user. He's saying he really likes it. Well done, Justin from Eastern Shore Broadcasting. Does it do port knocking so that you don't have to port forward, or make a DMZ connection?
No, it does not. So I guess that would have to be something that you'd have to. There's nothing tricky there with the app, so all that would have to be configured on your end. So
On the network. All right. Will this
can you
work
put a password to open the app?
That's a good one.
Sorry, I'm just reading off the
Yeah,
bottom.
no, go ahead. Yeah, that was what I was going to say.
Not on iOS. I mean, we could build that as a feature into the app, and that's not currently in there. But that's certainly something we can put in as a feature request where you can enable the password. But right now, there's not, other than the built-in parental controls. So.
Gotcha. What's the next one here? Oh, will this work with any VISCA-controlled camera over IP?
I suppose. I haven't had one to try. It's using a pretty standard protocol, but there's always different ways that different controllers interpret that. So your mileage may vary.
Yeah, I would say that it's very possible. Like, for example, we have a IP joystick that's based on the OnVIF protocol, and it seems to work with all the OnVIF cameras out there. This is VISCA over IP, very standard. Sony uses that. Panasonic has their own set of codes, and Vadio has their own set of codes. So you have to kind of do some research first. But VISCA over IP is pretty standard, and it's probably, I would imagine, the most widely used one. So let's see if there's any questions on Facebook here. This functionality is also useful for multiple conference locations where the conference presenter could PTZ into remotely located individuals. So let's talk through that, Justin, and kind of imagine how that may work. So if you were to remotely control a camera from another destination, it would have to have an outside IP address, and the network that you're on would have to, be able to let that connection through. Right, there wouldn't no firewall blocking access to that IP address.
Right. So as long as you have outbound access to the internet, and then that, or if it's on your local network, as long as it's wherever you're at, if you can reach that IP address, then you can control it. So the only thing you would need is just a way to preview that as well, whether that's just using the VLC app or something of that nature. But
so this is interesting to think about. For example, what would be easier do you think, for an end user to just VPN, virtually private network, just tunnel into an existing area network so that their computer was basically acting as if it was on the local area network from a remote location? I'm guessing that's probably the easier way, or the other way would be to have an outside IP address for the camera and allow the firewall to access, to let that have access from the outside world.
Right. The first one being maybe easier and safer for sure, because it allows you to have that extra layer of authentication before you connect. Otherwise, that if you just punch a hole in your firewall for that port for that IP and route everything through to it, then anyone that finds it can also control your camera. So
yes, that's true. I mean, there is a password on the camera, but the thing is that with iOS devices, is there such thing as a VPN app for iOS devices?
Yeah.
Oh, there is. Okay.
There's several different VPN type programs. Cisco has theirs on there. So you'd have to have, and there's a lot of routers that have some type of a VPN feature built in. So it's going to depend on your setup, but definitely doable.
Awesome. Well, I think we did a pretty good job of showing the app off. That was something, I think there's still a lot of people that have never seen the app. And here it is on the iPhone. Justin showed it on the iPad. Is there anything we didn't show? Do you want to show the settings area just a little bit more?
Sure. The other thing I didn't mention is if you have ideas for feedback and things, um, I've got a Twitter account set up for it, and there's also pantiltzoom.cam is the website set up for it, and there's a way to put in requests for support or features and that kind of thing. So, but love all the ideas we're getting. People are using the app in ways that we didn't even think about. So, but let me flip this back on real quick, and we'll go into our settings. And so, by default, on the PTZ cameras, and I don't know how it would be on other ones. Someone talked about, would it work on other cameras? The Visca port is 5678, so that's for PTZ optics cameras. That's going to be your best bet, but you will need to figure out, what your IP address is, and that's something that I'd like to add in as a feature too. Where on the PC, you've got an app that does some discovery and allows you to kind of find your cameras and even set the IP address. And as we work with maybe using the OnVIF protocol on here as well as an option, maybe we can help with some discovery there and make that easier for setup.
Cool.
I think everything else here we covered.
It's so simplistic, which is the great part. You name the camera, you should have the IP address of the camera, and from there you're basically just setting your speeds that you want to go with for manual and preset control.
Right.
There is one thing I wanted to show from my camera here. Let me see if I can pull this up. Here it is. Let's see if this is working. Okay, cool. So mute the audio coming from this. So basically, here is this is the broadcast. I like to kind of show this behind the scenes. I have right next to me always the IP addresses of the cameras. So most networks are something along the lines of like 192 dot something 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 dot something something something, and then that's the unique final IP address. So over here, that's my first camera. That's dot 57, and then I've got a ceiling camera which is dot 58. I like to do them in ascending order. Dot 59. Dot 60, and then I've got up here, this is the shot that was showing over, that's dot 61. Then over here, now of course the pan tilt zoom app probably doesn't work for this camera because it doesn't have pan tilt zoom. That's 61, and then 62, but one of the things I would like to test with you sometime, Justin, I'll test this and post it in the user group, is just a 20x, what we call a Z cam. So it just has zoom. It does not have any pan tilt.
Oh, okay.
But it uses the same exact protocol. So I'm assuming that if you wanted to just zoom that, I'm almost 100% sure that would work as well.
Oh, that'd be cool.
So we'll give that I'll give that a try, and I'll post it in the user group when I get a chance. This is a really handy little. It's called an NDI camera app, and it just allows me to just give that extra shot into the scene. So I really appreciate you coming on. Can you manage audio coming in from the camera, turning it off and on? I think this is just pan tilt zoom control.
Yeah, if we implemented the ability to get to the menu and stuff, you'd be able to configure some of that, but nothing right now.
That's a good point. One of the things I forgot to do, and we do this every show, is we do have a giveaway today, and I have to call the live giveaway winner today. Someone will win a PTZOptics shirt, sunglasses, and a koozie. So let's see who that winner is. We've been stepping up our game. We've did some camera giveaways lately. Daniel Wright, once again. Daniel's always the winner. So Daniel actually won a PTZOptics Z Cam. This is actually the one I'm going to send you, Daniel. So I'll send you along with some sunglasses as well and a t-shirt. So congratulations to you. Justin, thank you so much for coming on the show. I think we did a good job of demonstrating the app and showing it off. This was a little off the cuff. You guys, for those of you who watch the normal show, I'm much more relaxed when I have my co-host here who schedules all the emails and the social posts and helps me. It's like almost double the work, and I'm doing this all myself. But it was fun. I really do enjoy this. And thank you so much for coming on, Justin.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Take care.
And that's all, folks. We appreciate your participation in the chat room and can't wait to host our next informative Q&A session. Your questions drive the conversation forward for live streaming professionals around the world. Until next time, happy streaming!
All right, I'm going to cut the stream.